Tonight on CTV News, how will sea level rise affect property values? We have the latest. More positive news on the rebuild of Christchurch City, and ECAN's talking up its bosses, but is it on side with the public?
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening, welcome to CTV News, now streaming live every night at ctv.co.nz. Well, how will sea level rise affect property values? More than 18,000 coastal properties are under threat. That's according to The Science. And now a group of homeowners want the council to plan ahead before they say it's too late. Here's Jared McCulloch.
An urgent meeting was held today at the Christchurch City Council with one New Brighton commercial property owner concerned about the Coastal Hazards Assessment report released to the public last month. The document is in its third stage under the district plan, where many areas of coastal Christchurch and Banks Peninsula would see coastal erosion over the next 50 to 100 years. The council has been holding public meetings over the last month, informing affected residents. New Brighton is one of the areas that would face coastal erosion and sea level problems in the future, and locals are concerned about property values declining. And a property owner from the struggling suburb says urgent action is needed.
Initially we hoped to get the submissions process delayed because we have about a 4-week period to put submissions in on a very, very complex matter. We're dealing with coastal science, erosion of the sand dunes, and takes a lot longer than 4 weeks to get this together.
Munro established the New Brighton Revitalisation Task Force nearly 15 years ago, designed to work with the council to develop a master plan for the area. The Christchurch City Council has put up a property search finder on their website to give residents a better indication of the effects to their homes or businesses. These diagrams show the areas the City Council have been informed on, parts of eastern Christchurch around to Littleton, Banks Peninsula and Akaroa.
Council have advised us that to help people with submissions there'll be a submit a friend, and they'll probably put a link on their website so people can actually find out who that is and talk to them.
Now he wants to see the council extend the public consultation period of the document for a further 8 weeks to give the estimated 18,000 affected homeowners time to understand both the value and insurance implications in the future.
The flooding zone goes out near to Jade Stadium and the Palms shopping centre. A lot of those people probably don't realise it and may not get time to put in submissions.
He says his concerns needed to be brought to the council's attention before the submissions close next month.
We'll put together a joint submission with joint legal advice and coastal science advice. My concern is once it's accepted, you can really only go up. Whether you accept a metre and a quarter of sea level rise and whatever effects that will be, the next time a recommendation comes in that says 2 metres, the flood lines start creeping in very close to the CBD, which they're close to now.
At this stage, it's likely the public consultation session will close up on September 5th. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
An offender caught red-handed ramraiding a convenience store last week will spend the next month in jail and will appear in court again in a month.
One of the 2 people caught ramraiding a convenience store in New Brighton has been remanded in custody. 21-year-old Hamish McDonald pleaded guilty at the Christchurch District Court today to charges of burglary, but not guilty to charges of dangerous driving and failing to stop for police. He admitted ramraiding to burgle Z Energy in Hawke Street, Brighton, the Challenge service station in Bridge Street and the Boa Avenue Dairy. McDonald and a teenage associate took several items and the cash tills from all of them, causing moderate damage. He also pleaded guilty to taking a car worth $4,000 and possession of a pair of scissors which were used for starting the car. The raids took place last week and the offenders were caught red-handed by police during the hit on the Boa Avenue Dairy. Another car with 2 other offenders was also involved in the raids, but got away after crashing into a police car. McDonald will appear in court again in September.
ECAN is talking up its targets, but is the organisation on side with the public? Here's Chelsea Daniels.
ECAN shared their highlights today of their 2015 targets report after spending the last 5 years implementing the Canterbury water management strategy. The strategy kicked off in 2010, and since then the report shows that in most areas, good progress has been made in its first milestone. ECAN boasts that no one else in New Zealand has such a comprehensive, well-thought-out plan. With the plan, they outlined 10 key areas with set targets, with 4 set timeframes to be achieved by 2040. The report presented today is a self-assessment, but Commissioner David Cahill says that ECAN is taking the document very seriously.
This is actually trying to make a difference. So this is not an academic exercise. There's not there'll be things that we need to study and learn more about. You know, the science will evolve and farm practices will certainly change. But this is about trying to realise an economic opportunity which exists in Canterbury more than in any other part of New Zealand.
Since 2009, 10 catchment-based zone committees have been established as joint committees of the district or city councils. More than 950 recommendations have been made via these, with currently more than 90 projects underway in the race to achieve ECAN's strategy program by 2040. David makes it clear that the zoning committees don't have the last say in matters at hand, but are the beginning point in a process.
The zone committees make recommendations, Environment Canterbury signs off on them, and then we go to public hearings. So the appropriateness, the reasonableness, the wisdom, if you like, of the proposed rules is tested in a formal hearing process.
But have there been areas where there could be some more improvement made?
There are areas here where we haven't yet reached the targets, and the strategy was entered into in good faith and is taken seriously. And while I've chosen to, well, even in the area of environmental limits, actually, we haven't made the timetable that was set in the strategy, but we're well on the way.
In the recreational water section, we find that the matter has gotten worse. The initial monitoring in 2010 shows 74% of river bathing sites graded as suitable for human contact, now being 67% in the last monitoring in 2014. But David says that these popular swimming spots tend to change over time, affecting these numbers in turn.
The real difficulty with this is the sites change, not hugely. You know, so the sites that we were measuring in 2013-14 are not necessarily exactly the same sites as we were measuring in 2009-10, and they're because people can decide that they would like to swim in new places.
Even though in the original document the categories have been prioritised into 2 main groups, he says that the commitment has been designated in relation to time and effort needed to meet their individual goals.
It's disgustingly simple. Canterbury's got the largest area in New Zealand that's flat. It's really nothing much more to do with anything other than topography. So we've got the largest area in the country that is irrigable but not yet irrigated. Okay. So we've got the largest economic opportunity in terms of irrigation.
There will be public meetings held in September for feedback regarding the assessment. The dates are yet to be announced. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Fascinating. Well, still to come here on CTV News, Dion Swiggs from Rebuild Christchurch gives us an update on what's happening around the city's rebuild. Welcome back to CTV News. Dion Swiggs from Rebuild Christchurch is with us with a good update on what is happening around the city. Dion, let's get to Victoria Square. The people had their say, didn't they?
Yeah, and CERA have just released another update saying, yep, we're happy with what the consultation that's just been done. They are looking at the 2,200 submissions from the people, and it looks like finally we're going to actually get the result that the people wanted. Really good result. Consultation works.
I just hope didn't cost too much because the people had their say, but you just wonder what it was all about anyway. Some other positive news though, Dion. People have also had their say regarding this Regenerate Christchurch transition plan.
Yeah, so Action Station, which was the thing that we were, the video that we did, 2,460 submissions, and there were more from CERA. We don't know the exact numbers yet, but the CERA release basically said that the overwhelming message was that there's a locally led recovery. Now, what that means is the council and CERA at the moment are really just negotiating the parameters around what the legislation will look like, and we will start to see, some drafts coming out in the next couple of months, and then it goes to a select committee, and then it goes to Parliament. There's a lot of work to do, as we've talked about soon, but as we get some more results or more information around Regenerate Christchurch, or what will be the regeneration bill, we'll talk about that as well.
In terms of the red zoners, some of them are heading back to court again.
The big thing here is the government have changed and listened to most of the recommendations that people were saying around the red zone offers for uninsured and flat land and businesses, and they've agreed to pay 100% on all of those except for the uninsured. Now they're paying 100% of the land value, but they're not paying 100% or any compensation for the house. Now the argument here is why they're going back to court is that the people feel as though that if the government's going to take or compulsorily acquiring my house, they should be paying for the whole lot. Because most of those people, if they were outside the red zone, they would have had some other form of support to actually, fix their houses up. But because they're in the red zone, there is no support, there is no help for those people. And some people, some of the situations that I've heard about are pretty horrible. I don't have a personal opinion on that, but they're going back to court to try and figure that out.
The BNZ house finally to be demolished.
Yes, it's been so.
This is the one on the square, right?
Yeah, so it's finally going to be demolished. This is that one that they brought down. They brought down a couple of about 9 stories. They've brought it down to, and that level there, it's actually structurally safe because that's the actual original building. The other part was actually an addition. It's been sold, it's been bought by another developer, it'll be demolished, and if there's anybody out there that has a plan or wants to put a hotel there, go contact the developer and they'll build it. So they're looking for expressions of people what they want to do with that place at the moment.
Cramnet Court site have apartments. I thought they were denied this, the church originally.
No, the church was denied to have a church hall on there. So now they've gone back, and I think there's some new people involved, and this is where Sir Bob Parker has been involved as well, and they're wanting to put apartments there. And I think Sir Bob has been working with this consortium of builders for around $100 million of apartments and things like that within the city. That's great because the more money or more buildings that we have in the central city, the more rating base the council has, the more money we have to rebuild other things. This is a really positive step, and good on the investors, whoever they are, to actually sort of step in and say, yep, we're going to back Christchurch. That's a really good story.
The Avon River precinct that was due to be finished at the end of this year, once again more delays. I saw on the press website today they found an ancient pipe or something or other.
These have all been known, and I think this is all potentially smoke in the water really, but that's going to be delayed till the end of next year, sadly. They've actually just put tenders out for stage 2, so the other parts more north of where the city centre is and those other areas there, so they just put tenders out for that today so that people can build that. But it is a little bit disappointing that it's now going to be delayed a year, and that delay is it's just it's fixing the river. Another thing here is
what's wrong with the river in the first place.
Another great thing here though, where they've actually found that creek though, is the terrace development where Anthony Goff's building is, and that's very good news. He's about to start again, so he's press go again on his development, and now it's going to be open by 2016, the whole lot. We should be having bars and some of the bars and restaurants there early next year, and the whole area will be developed by 2016, and that really is actually a really good story because I think there's going to be a lot of activity around that area in the next year, and we were over there in the weekend, and you can start seeing a lot of activity, especially on Cashel Street.
Which is all good news. Something that I guess when you look back now, it's easy to realise just how important it was, those transitional projects. Some of them looked ugly. Who wants a green couch in the middle of nowhere? But all that stuff, all that art stuff actually did amazing things for people's mental health, didn't it?
Lincoln University did a bit of research just very recently around these transitional projects and said that the actual economic value that they've actually provided for the city is actually a lot more than most of us realise. The pallet pavilion from Gap Filler, there's a couple of groups, Gap Filler, Greening the Rubble, Life in Vacant Spaces, and Scape Public Art. You know, these groups are doing some magical stuff within the city and these transitional projects.
It's funny how I guess I took it for granted, but it was amazing, wasn't it?
I think it is really amazing, and it's great to see. And we're going to still have a lot of this activity over the next couple of years. I mean, these spaces are going to be available, and it just creates this pockets of community. It's not building back buildings or a city, it's actually building community, and it's a really good story.
Just finally, the government announced more details on the Metro Sports facility. I couldn't make head nor tail of it. They've announced essentially that they're putting more money in, but they're not saying what. So
yeah, I mean, they've actually released, and I think they're starting to get their plan together for the Metro Sports facility. They've actually, in that release, they've said it's going to be the second biggest facility in the Australasia, which means it's actually going to be pretty massive, actually. But they're going to put in more money. Who knows how much more money it is? They've already backed the council into $147 million of it, and they've already committed $70 million. How much more does it actually need? But hopefully we get some facility that's actually going to be future-proof for quite some time, because we're spending that much money on it.
Okay, for these stories more, what can we do? Where can we head to? Your website?
Yeah, the website rebuildchristchurch.co.nz has all the details. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/Rebuild Christchurch, and all of the stuff that's going on in the rebuild is always there.
Darren Swiggs, thanks for your time this evening. Well, the busy Papanui Library will close for the next 2 months. It's the latest Christchurch library to undergo earthquake repairs.
It's one of the city's busiest libraries, and it will be closing its doors for the next 2 months, with repairs beginning to bring the building back to pre-earthquake conditions. The repair comes as the Christchurch City Council looks to fix up its library network throughout Christchurch, with the Spraden building being the first to be repaired back in April this year. The Papanui site will close for the next 8 weeks as structurally strengthening repairs take place, as well as removal and replacement of the ceiling grids and lighting. The library will also see replacements of insulation, windows and wall panels, and repairs to the entrance foyer. The council's advising residents to use the Fendleton Library until the facility is back up and running in October. The next site to be fixed up will be the Shirley premises later in the year.
Still to come here on CTV News, the region's weather forecast. On the back of the FIFA and World Cup cricket events, the Christchurch City councillors are hoping the city will continue to be a draw card for other sporting events.
The Tall Ferns and the national Japanese women's basketball team received a warm welcome to Christchurch. Mayor Leanne Dalzell was there to support the girls, as well as an array of city councillors. And Councillor Yanni Johansson is proud to have Christchurch yet again on the sporting map.
I think the relationship between Christchurch and Japan is actually a very proud relationship. It goes back many decades, and I think having a sporting event of the calibre that we have is wonderful. It's wonderful for the city to be able to host the teams. It's also wonderful for people to be able to go and see world-class basketball being played in Christchurch.
He says that it's a great opportunity for Christchurch to show its versatility in hosting big sporting events following a successful FIFA Under-20s World Cup in June.
The really important thing is that, as was acknowledged today, that teams that come from abroad, and particularly Japan, who know only too well what the impact of tsunami and earthquakes are on cities, actually to come and experience Christchurch at this unique time in our history is also really important for telling our story to the rest of the world.
The Tall Ferns ended their William Jones Cup campaign on a high, where they sealed a 79-54 win over an American select team in Taiwan. Coach Kennedy Kariyama says that the team's latest tour was an overall good experience.
Look, we've been building each game, and obviously great to knock off a US invitational team. Not the Team USA, obviously, but still nonetheless a win against a quality team internationally. So, yeah, for us it was just about building and learning our systems and structure. It's a relatively new team.
The team prepares themselves for a 3-game series against Japan this week.
Well, right now we just landed yesterday, so today's a recovery day for us. I guess going out and meeting with dignitaries and the council. But for us, really, the focus is still in Australia, and we'll be playing against the Japanese as if they were the Australian team. So we're still learning that, I guess, customising ourselves to how we're going to play against Australia. So again, to play Japan, it might not be necessarily the best way to beat them, but for us, it's just about mentally preparing.
And Coach Kennedy is confident that the girls will win against Japan.
It was the same when we went away to Taiwan, and obviously we had some mixed results over there, but again we got better at it as every game wore on, and I believe probably now if we can be consistent with our systems and structures, I believe we can beat Japan in all 3 games.
The girls then travel international and land in Oz for the FIBA Oceania Series against Australia, in Melbourne on August 15th and Taronga August 17th, with the winner qualifying for the Rio Olympic Games.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be the coach if I didn't have if I didn't believe they could beat Australia. But absolutely, the girls are full of a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, and again, we're slowly building towards that. That is our goal, and that's what we're focused on right now. There are other procedures, there are other events in place on the off chance we don't, but we're just taking every day as it comes, and obviously we're very happy with our preparation so far.
The Tall Ferns versus Japan games will be played in Christchurch tomorrow and Friday, with the final test held in Ashburton on Sunday. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Great stuff. Now time for the region's weather.
Kia ora Canterbury. Well, we have been having incredibly warm temperatures over the last couple of days. Christchurch was actually 16 degrees at 6:30 a.m. this morning. Today's highs first up, 17 for Timaru and 16 for Temuka and Geraldine. Looking to central Canterbury, toasty warm for you guys here too. 19 degrees for Christchurch there, 17 for Leeston, Ashburton and Darfield, and 16 for Akaroa and 14 for you, Methven. Looking further north, 19 degrees for Kaikoura as well, sharing that high with Christchurch, 17 there for Cheviot, Culverden and Hanmer Springs, 16 for Amberley and Rangiora. And over to the Alpine region, 11 degrees for Lake Tekapo and Mount Cook today. Let's see what we can expect for tomorrow's weather. 12 degrees for Timaru tomorrow, a few northeasterlies in the afternoon, cloudy skies and sunshine for you. Looking to Ashburton, a similar picture for Ashburton here with these northeasterly winds in the afternoon, could be making the afternoon quite fresh, and 14 degrees for your high. Over to Christchurch, a nice day for your Wednesday. Northeasterlies coming on through, 13 degrees for your high, but watch that -1 for your morning. And over to Kaikoura, sunny skies for you tomorrow, 13 degrees for your high and a few northwesterly winds breezing on through. Let's see what's happening in the rest of the Canterbury region for tomorrow. Mostly northeasterly winds coming through here, a few northwesterlies for Twizel though, and a few drizzle patches for you, Twizel. Central Canterbury, these northeasterly winds are really out and about tomorrow for Akaroa and Leeston, 16 degrees there for Leeston. Northwesterlies, however, for Darfield on 13 degrees. North Canterbury, sunny skies up the top here. Beautiful day for your Wednesday. Northwesterlies for everyone here and northerlies there for Rangiora on 13 degrees. And over to the mountain ranges, 6 degrees there for Arthur's Pass. Not so good for you. Again, rainy patches for you. Let's check out the upcoming days, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, 15 degrees there for Ashburton. Sunny skies with a bit of high cloud present. We're expecting these northeasterly winds and northerly winds to come gusting on through. Friday, similar picture here with these northerly winds. We are expecting a little bit of a southwesterly change though in the evening for Ashburton and Timaru. Looking to the other areas for the upcoming days, Thursday is looking good for most of the areas. We're seeing northerly winds really gusting on through, particularly for inland basins. Flipping over to Friday, we're seeing that sunshine and those cloudy skies again, and again we're seeing these northeasterly winds coming through for most places. We are expecting that southerly change in the evening. So over the next few days, those warm temperatures are continuing, not quite as warm as they have been over the last couple of days, but still pretty good for this time of year. For now though, that's your weather update for Tuesday.
Thanks, Mercy. Don't forget to join me for News Talk CB from 8:35 tomorrow, but from all of us here at CTV News, have a good evening.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.